Hi, I'm Marquet with C. Marquet Studios. It's an online art gallery where I'm in collaboration with a beautiful sketch artist named I. Crawford, and she has been kind enough to offer some free traceables. So for our tutorials, when we teach people for beginner acrylic painters how to paint, we've selected our first video tutorial to be on Peter, the Bigfoot boy, and you can learn on this tutorial how to go to our website, how to print a traceable, transfer it to a canvas, and how to paint it from beginning to end. There's also a lot of tips and tricks for beginning painters, and we're going to have a wonderful adventure, so join us as we learn how to paint Peter, the Bigfoot boy. And this is how you get to the traceable. You're going to go online. You're going to type in www.cmarquetstudios.com. It's going to bring up my website. You're going to go over to the top menu where it says More, and you only have to hover over it and then go to the very first thing in that menu, Traceables. Click on that, and there's the 3 traceables we have already. We're going to do PETA today, so click on PETA, and there he is. All you have to do is hit File and Print, and then print your little PETA. Once it's printed, I'm going to show you how to transfer it onto the canvas. What you're going to do is you're going to take regular old carbon copy paper, just regular carbon paper. You're going to put it so the shiny side is up, and you're going to tape this to the paper. Make sure you tape it down, because if this moves while you're tracing it at all, you're going to be in a world of hurt. If the traceable it comes out too far to the ends, tape it from the front side. And here we go. Now it is secure to the carbon paper. Now what you're going to want to do is get it even, or wherever you want to put it on your canvas. If you want to frame it, make sure you have it up at least a ½ inch. Then you're going to tape it to the canvas. To protect the canvas from tape, or a canvas panel especially, use painter's tape to tape this down. And then you just begin tracing it. Okay. Once he has been traced, you're going to pull off the painter's tape. All right, so here's our traceable, our little boy named Peter. Now we're going to go paint him. First thing we're going to want to do is paint that background. I will tell you that it's best if you get your corners darker. These acrylic paints do not adhere well to a canvas if it's too watered down. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate everything around this little boy. Even though I'm painting him right now, this color, it's all right because we're going to be blocking him in, but I'm painting him thin only, just so that I can get around here. And I'm going to show you a little trick. But this way you don't have to worry about your paints not adhering, and you don't have to worry about getting really close up to your subject. Just going to take some paper towel, and we're going to wipe off where we pretty much every place that we just went over our subject. But it leaves enough space around him so that you have some color, and you won't have to worry about painting too close up. And this is okay that you have this base color over your subject, because every subject has to be blocked in. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and just make X's, painting around the side of your canvas as you go. The worst thing is you finish your painting and then you got to come back in and paint the sides, and they never match, and canvas rolls on the edges. So it's a mess to be doing later. So as you're painting, paint the edges. And again, we're going to go in heavy color in the edges. So we're going to paint that around. There are times where you want it to dry fast and you don't have the time to wait for it, that is when you use a hair dryer. Blow dryer, hair dryer. See how I'm just making X's? Just to get that canvas covered, because we don't like those little white canvas spots. Now Chuck Black, check him out also. He is a realist. Oh my goodness, he is so good. And you can check out Chuck Black and he will give you a demonstration on how to make your canvas better. And what he does is he shows you how you can make it smoother. While I'm mentioning other artists, I'm going to mention my guy, J.M. Lazandra. He has a YouTube channel, J.M. Lazandra, and I have learned a ton from him also. I think all of us artists need to support each other, and not one person can teach you everything. You would be bored to tears. Just bored to tears. This is where I'm going to add a little bit of white into that background. If you have one subject, it's a good idea to get it lighter in the background around that subject because it draws your eyes in. So if you can, get it lighter behind your subject. Just give a little bit of a horizon here, just so he has some groundwork. Another way that you can get rid of paint is to clean off your paintbrush real great. Really, really good. And scumble it off like that. How easy is that? There are going to be times where you're going to need to know these things. Because everybody messes up. Everybody has an oops moment. And some of them, as Bob Ross said, are happy accidents. And some of them are, oh no! And that's when you get out that paintbrush with some water on it and paper towel off that paintbrush real good and scumble it off. Okay. I think we're good enough here. We're going to come up with a good base color for our little Bigfoot boy. Because we're going to go darker and lighter. We're going to use a nice medium color. We're going to use Liquitex Basic Acrylics Burnt Sienna. Let's start blocking him in. If you're a beginner, we always block in with acrylics. Because acrylics have to be done in layers. Some people like to block in with the darkest color. I like to go with a medium tone because big feet have fur or hair, whichever you want to call it. And we have got to get hair painted. And when you paint hair, you need to use at least 3 colors, at least, to give it depth. So we're going to get him blocked in with some nice burnt sienna, which is a nice medium color, and then we can add our lights and our darks. Okay, we have got him blocked in pretty good. Let's let that dry. I'm going to use my Princeton Aspen number 2 because this painting is a little small, being an 8 by 10 size, and I'm going to do all of his skin areas because when it comes to his hair is going to come over his skin, so we're going to do the skin areas first. What I'm going to do for that, I'm going to get some titanium white. I'm going to go ahead and mix my white with some burnt sienna and make some skin tone for a little Mr. PETA. We figure he hasn't been out in the sun long enough to have gotten leathery like, you know, his parents have. He's been more protected. Of course, this is a fantasy painting, so our portrait of this little Bigfoot does not have to be realism. So if you're scared that you can't do this because you're not a portrait artist, just get over that, because you've got this traceable, and although it won't look like a paint by number when you're done, it won't look like realism either, but it's going to look pretty good if you just follow what I'm showing you and follow the traceable. I'm going to use some of that burnt sienna, and I'm going to come down here and go over his eye, give him a little bit of a inkling of an eyelash, little inkling of thumbnails, fingernails, and giving him some hair. I was going to shade in one side of that finger, and underneath that big toe, underneath that foot, and between those toes, his hand shaded in. Going to go between his fingers here that you can see. Our light source should be coming in this way, I would think. Should make it come in this way. Let's make it come in that way. Get some white. Put a little bit of white on the top of his fingers and toes, just to give it a little dimension. And remember, we are just doing impressionistic fantasy art here, so don't worry about realism. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be fun. Just where the lights would be hitting it if the light was coming this way. And of course it would be hitting his cheek. And we'll highlight his nose there a little bit. His cute little forehead. Add a little bit of white for where his cheek is. And the top of his eyelid will be lighter. And his ear. There we go. It's very impressionistic, but that's all it has to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to come up with a little bit in between. I use the white and the light. Come a little bit in between to blend these colors out. And then we're going to use just a little bit darker. It's more of that burnt sienna. And with that skin color, is that it? You can see the difference on the palette. I'm just using palette paper. I'm not even putting it on anything. See, you don't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to take that darker color and add it to the areas where the sun doesn't shine. Like he should have a little bit of an eyelid area up there, just a little bit. And of course the sun won't shine too good right under his hair, right there. And a little bit water and a little bit more sienna to that. So right underneath his hair, you can put a little bit of that darker color, just underneath it. Give it a little bit of shadow. Because you know that sun's not hitting it. up with some fur. Yeah, feel free to use your fingers. We all do. Don't be ashamed. And then, I believe what I'm going to do to make him look a little bit more real is I'm going to add a little bit of pink. Very lightly. That's the background I use, and it's just pure magenta. It's pure liquid basic acrylics quinacridone magenta. Yeah, I can't say that word. When you say it. Quinacridone. So we're going to give him a little bit of a cheek color here. Adding a little bit more white to that because that would use a little too much pink. Give that to him on his cheek there. Mix it in, start blending it in with the rest. I think his nose needs a little bit more. There we go. There's our little buddy. And I will add a little bit more just to his cheek area. Got a little bit too much there, so I'm just gonna take a little water and scumble it out. That's it. There you go. There you go. His nose lost a little bit of light there. Alrighty, I think we're doing good there. We need to get a little bit more light on those cheeks, just a little more light where his cheek would hit the light there. There we go. There we go. Now he does have a little bit of a dark spot where his cheek comes up there. Shade that in a little bit. There we go. All right, let's get into that fur, shall we? I'm going to show y'all a wonderful paintbrush that I absolutely love. It is a Princeton Aspen number 4 round. I love this brush. It works so good. We're going to take some raw umber and add that to our palette. That is going to be our darkest color. Alright, isn't it fun though? We're going to take that raw umber and we're going to start going around on the darkest places of where his fur would be the darkest. Just with this big round brush. And yes, it does take quite a bit of water. Just use that where the light isn't shining underneath. Got a phone call, so I had to turn off the camera. But what I did, and I want to let you know this for beginners, this is called a wet palette, and it's done by Masterson's. What it does is it has a sponge in it. It has a wet sponge that comes with it. And as you can see, I have used this an awful lot. But if you have to stop, you can put the lid on it and it will keep your paints nice and wet because acrylics dry really fast. So there's a tip for you. They only cost about $12 or so on Amazon, maybe about $13. And it's worth it because otherwise I would waste a lot of paint. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that in my wet palette. And we're going to continue on painting little Bigfoot boy here. I'm going to take that medium color that we mixed, burnt sienna and white, mix it together really good. And we're going to go in here and paint his hair some more where the light shines. His little alfalfa sprouts will get some light because the light's coming this way. Okay, now I'm going to show you something phenomenal for painting hair or fur. This paintbrush is so cool. It's done by Artist Loft. I'm not sure what it's called. It's called a filbert, but it is cut. I don't know if you can see it, but it is cut so that it has little pieces sticking up. And this is what I call my magic hairbrush. I'm going to take some of the darker colors and I'm going to just start putting in some hair on his legs. Not a lot of paint sticks to this paintbrush for some reason, but it is a wonderful little tool to use if you're painting fur or hair. And feel free to just play with it. Just have fun. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it fun. Now we're going to go in with some burnt sienna, which is more of a medium color. Alright, we're going to clean off that paintbrush, dip it on a paper towel, stick it back in the water, and we're going to go over with some white and some of that light color for the skin tone. Because I forgot to tell you an important thing. Always want to go in the way of the grain of his fur. There we go. I'm liking that. You might even go over it with a little bit more of that medium tone. Because it will dry darker. There we go. You know how toddlers are. Their heads are way too big for their little bodies. There you go. The most important thing you do now is take out your little brush. That would be the number 2/0. And you're going to sign it. Now, my name is Marquet, but ever since I was young, I found out from an art teacher that said, sign it with a special name. And so I signed it, oops, C. I don't know why I came up with that, but I signed it C. Marquet. Don't know why. One more thing, you know how I said that it's important that you stand back and look at your work? When I stood back, I realized that I had some pink still down here, and I really needed to cover that up. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I'll have more videos coming soon. Bye.